Hey, yes, 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 yes. People, welcome to another Black Ice TV production. And today is a special one, a nice one. She'll be juicy. Yeah. Bridging the gap. Yeah. From the USA to the UK. Yeah. Business and knowledge. And today we've got in the house with us our brother from across the pond, Dagger Squad, Garfield. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Much respect for joining us, my brother. Speak to the people, then. Are you there?
All right.
Speak to
Which
the
one?
people, brother.
Who you talk? Me or you talk your partner?
You, brother. You, brother. Speak to the people.
Oh, okay. I'm here, man. Peace and love, man. It's brother Garfield, man. He's straight out of New York, and I'm actually in a hotel room right now too. But we're definitely going to drop it up, chop it up today, real good. I know you got them tough questions, and I'm ready to take on all takers, man. So this is brother Garfield, Dagger Squad, economic empowerment, history, anthropology, archaeology, everything all wrapped up into one, and we come with them solutions too. So we got that homework, like my brother Ang from the Amin Ra squad said, we got that homework for all the pseudos out there and all them folks who holding on to the Bible like it's 100% true. So we got it too. We got that work for them, man. So I'm ready to get it in, bro. Anybody you want to talk about anything, I'm ready.
Yeah,
What's
brother.
your what's your what's your YouTube channel, by the way? Because I don't have the link. I want
Black
to send the
Ice
link out.
TV 7, we are on
Black Eyes
right
T.
now. Black Ice TV 7,
Oh,
all
me
one
can.
word, no space,
Oh,
one
okay,
word.
okay, okay.
See it there on the title. Right. So, first of all, my brother, let's just get into and cover the basis of what you're doing. I know enough people see you on the Sarnetta channel on 125th Street and so on and so forth. But give us a rundown of the things you're covering and some of the programs that you're running and shows that you're kind of producing out right now with the Dagger Squad and by yourself.
All right, so pretty much we're doing a lot of things as far as research. You know, the whole team, Dagger Squad first is a research team. You know, we research everything, whether it's religion, history, archaeology, anthropology, research economics, it doesn't matter what it is. We're definitely part of the whole research, research movement. Because we're trying to search for truth and we're trying to help people understand the truth, So first thing I'll say is that's what we do. That's what we do first. We are researchers. All right. As far as economics, I'm all over the country speaking to people about economics and how we can pool our resources. I'm putting out the word that abandoned towns is probably a solution for a small amount of the population, not for everybody. But that's one of the things that we can do. We can pool our resources. I'm looking for 100 men in each state in America, and we're going to clean up their credit, boost their scores, get them funding, and then we're going to get them some government contracts, and we're going to work with the system that we have to better our livelihood. It's not about saying, hey, I want to separate and isolate within the same nation. So this nation, blood, sweat, and tears is what built up America, of slaves and the less fortunate people. That's who built up America. So why we can't use them now to build up what we want to build? So we're going to get the funding, we're going to get all that, and we're going to go inside and try to buy these abandoned towns all over the country, and we're going to try to separate as much as we can. We're still going to be on the grid, but the point of it is we don't have to deal with these police officers that don't like us. We don't have to deal with the people within our own community that don't like us. We just need to separate from all the craziness, show the world how we can build a culture within this culture. Right now you have the Yoruba culture in the Oyotunji village in South Carolina. They've been there for over 45 years, no crimes, nobody get killed, no gunplay, nothing. And they are within America's boundaries, but they are still running a separate culture within this culture under the same government. So it can be done, because if you look all over the world right now, which community can you say that there wasn't a crime? In the Maroons in Jamaica, since 1738, there haven't been a killing. I mean, the Maroon towns, the five main towns, there haven't been any form of killings amongst themselves. They've been a culture that's separate from the government. So these cultures are all over the west of the world, but people don't pay attention to them because the Maroons, whether they come from the Ghana background or they were runaway slaves or natives or whatever they were, all pooled together, and they built a culture that's still there today, replicating what they knew from back home. So, hey, it can be done, and this is what I'm trying to emphasize to everybody all over the world, whether you're in Europe, whether in the UK, whether you're in America, whether you're in the West Indies. It's not about trying to get yourself back to Africa, but it's trying to bring whatever culture you have left or whatever culture you like to adapt to. You could do it right here wherever you live.
Mm, powerful, brother. Powerful, powerful. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, when we're seeing you on the Sarnetta channel, yeah, and you're doing your economic show, yeah, we've heard Sarnetta and other people talk about trying to do economic platforms before, and people not really taking to it, yeah, on whatever format they're talking about. So you seem to be getting some success. Your show's been running regularly now for a little while now. You seem to be getting the hits. What do you think you're doing differently that's attracting the people to the way you're breaking down the economics? Like like because again, knowledge is for everyone. So if you can
Hmm.
inspire or help or give a hint or tip on how better to present the economic plan to our people, what would you say to other people and presenters that want to start up their own little meeting on economics, on the black pound, on the black dollar?
The best thing to do is first and foremost put your ego aside and say, hey, it's not about you. Because the problem that many organizations have, and this is why we suffer now, because it's all about a central figure. This is not about Garfield. It's about a group of people who want to help people. And what happened is I had some women beside me that are more intelligent than me. So it wasn't an ego thing. So with the support of the woman, because every movement needs women to be involved. If you notice that every organization where the man is running and all that stuff, it's all about this head guy. And what I did was I put my ego aside and I said, it's not about me. I'm just a piece of the pie. The late great Dr. Francis Cress Welsing laid out a 9-point plan, 9 things we should address. So did Nelly Fuller. And Elijah Muhammad said, message to the black man, let's pool our resources. So I use all the information that they taught that I have seen for myself. And then I had another great mind who's alive today, Dr. Claude Anderson. And I have Dr. Boyce Watkins, who is one of two of the greatest master teachers when it comes to economics. And I've watched them. I still watch them. I've subscribed to Boyce Watkins. I've taken classes with him. So what you're hearing is not original. It's not my ideas. I'm just trying to put their ideas, make it effective or actually carried out. So when you carry out these ideas, we need to stop trying to save the whole world. We can't save the whole world, and that's what everybody's trying to do. They want to be the next Malcolm X. They want to be the next Martin Luther King, and that's the problem. They want to be the next Farrakhan. It's not about that. All you need to do is work on yourself and work on the people that's in your inner circle and a few others. Because I'm encouraging people to buy abandoned towns, but I'm telling them to make it like 100 people or less. Because the more you're gathered, I mean, I was reading something this morning about in New York, when the British took over New York from the Amsterdam folks, they didn't allow more than 3 people to gather because of what they did when they tried to kill a bunch of, when the slaves tried to revolt. So they didn't allow us more than 3 people to gather. They're scared. They're fearful. In their subconscious, they think that we're going to rise up one day and want to kill them. So to make sure that doesn't happen, whenever we start grouping and pooling together, they start watching us. This is why I tell everybody, if we're going to buy an abandoned town, make sure it's just 100 people or less, because the more people are there, tens of thousands, that's when the government want to start watching you, want to start calling you terrorists and try to label you or white label you and say, hey, we got to watch out for these people. But if you take your friends, your family, and your inner circle and decide to hear what we know each other for a while, let's just go over here. Everybody's not going to come. So you just got to work with the people. You're still going to have your cable. You're still going to have your this and that. You're still going to have your hospitals that you got to go to within the region. So it's not like you're going to be off the grid. You're just separating yourself, building a community where you could police yourselves. Because whenever you call the police in America, I don't know about UK, three things happen. You either get beat up by the cops, you either get arrested, or you get killed. Those are the three options for a black man when the cops are called. So in my 9-point plan, which I'm going to get to later, one of the things I talk about is building a conflict resolution center, where instead of we calling cops for domestic disputes that's non-violent, or before it escalates, you have a number you could call nationally for counselors, therapists. Those type of people would be on call 24/7 to deal with these issues in our community, so we could police ourselves. And that's the problem. Sometimes you have a jealous girlfriend that would call the cops on you to try to get you arrested. But we try to encourage our people to show more black love for one another and try to solve the issues amongst ourselves without getting the so-called white men or authorities to supervise us or to monitor us. We need to get away from dealing with the whole entire thing about, hey, you know what, Garfield, we're gonna call the cops, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. We need to cut that out, man. All of that needs to be cut out. Shout out to my brothers on the panel, man, because I as I told them, I invited them. It's never about me. It's never about my ego. It's all about spreading the information. I don't know everything.
That's
You know
it.
what I'm saying? So I got my brothers on the line. I want to give a shout out to Raw Born and my brother Meru. Just to show love, just to show that it's not about Garfield, never about me. There's no Dagger Squad without a team. Shout out to Monica. Shout out to Cheryl. Shout out to sister from Embrace Pangea. Shout out what you call it? Shout out to all the people on the team, African Emporium that deal with stocks. Shout out to shout out to Sarnetta for putting me on. Shout out to brother Eng from the Amara squad for putting me on with to Sarnetta. You know what I'm saying? So we
Oh shit. We got a signal drop. Brother Rawborn,
Peace to the family.
time to pick up the slack right where he left off until we can get back in. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Just the other day, me and my boy was talking about you. Yeah, because we always see you hanging in the back. Yeah, playing the humble role. But we know you got mad knowledge. Yeah, whenever you speak, it's right and exact. Like I can't say I've got a beef or gripe ever when you've spoken so far. You get me? So, shout out to the people. Big up the UK audience. Now that you're on, Garfield's back and now he's gone again. But yeah, until he sorts himself, speak to the UK, man. Tell them who you are. Tell them what you do. Yeah, and anything else you want to say.
All right. Oh, he's back.
yeah, go ahead, brothers. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go through,
Yeah,
Rawborn.
yeah. Peace, man. Peace. Yeah, I'm part of the our little team we got called the Dagger Squad. My name Rob Bourne. I'm a part of a different organization though. I'm part of the Nation of Gods and Earths. That's my spiritual system. That's where I got cleaned up at, and that's where it took me on my journey to enhancing knowledge. Me, as my part on the team, I'm more of an independent searcher or researcher, and my new field of study is West Africa because that is the place that we came from, or where most of us came from that is over here, and it's rarely, rarely talked about. We talk about Africa, but we talk about Egypt, which is a great thing. Nothing wrong with that. But I think that knowledge itself encompasses where directly we came from and the cultures that we have. And if we look at that, we can see how we can use that and some of them systems that are tangible and use it to add on to today, to your life and to the people life. I focus more on fitness and health because that's what I do. And that's the part that I play in this whole entire cipher that we deal with. But for me, as it is going now, I'm going on West Africa real hard. Going after that to put that knowledge out there because the people need that, and I'm gonna just keep coming with that knowledge. Just did a presentation the other day on the hello. Oh, just did a presentation the other day on the Igbos and their history on our channel, the Dagger Squad. and how Hebrews or the people of that culture try to take that Near East philosophy and say that it basically started that whole civilization. I think that's erroneous. I think it's wrong, and I think we need to rep Africa and stop doing reverse racism. Like people talk about West Africa like it's nothing, like it's a piece of garbage, but don't want to talk about the kingdom of Neri, the kingdom of Igala, and all these other different empires we had.
Whoa,
So
whoa, 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 Rawborn, you're going hard. We're gonna get into that. Me and Garfield already touched on that, so I'm gonna freeze you up right there.
that's
Yeah, I'm
peace.
feeling you totally. Yeah, we're gonna go back into that subject matter in a little while. Yeah, of the West Africa, certain statements that were made that didn't sit right with certain people. We're gonna deal with it. We're gonna clear that out for the people. Yeah,
That's peace. But that's what
yeah.
I'm about, man. But that's really what it is. I can turn it over to Maru. And peace to the UK, peace to the fam, peace to everybody.
That's all. That's all. Yeah, big up people again. Everybody that's tuning in, supporting Black Eyes TV 7. We're doing this thing. Yeah, UK, USA. The link up is right here. Yeah, we're trying to do this thing. Big up to Calamel. Big up to Talk with the Titans. Big up to HMP TV. Big up to Got Kush. Yeah, big up to the conscious community here in the UK doing it. Yeah. So today now, getting back to my brother Garfield. Are you there? Can you hear us, Garfield? Is he there? Is he there?
Yeah, he's there, he's there. He just talked.
I can't hear him. There's no sound. Garfield.
Yeah. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
There we go. There we go. We got you now. We got you now.
All
Right.
right. All right. All right.
So now the man with the master plan. Yeah, we was talking earlier about seeing you around on these streets, trying to take on these Hebrews, and this scholarship side, which we know you deal with, yeah, as well as the rest of the squad. But when you're talking about economics and all these kinds of things, as we know, you can give anybody £1 million, but if they're a fool and they have no moral system or code of ethics and such to adhere to, it's all going to turn to shit in the end. So one thing I want to ask you, and I know that people might be interested because they see you debating so many different sects. And the other day when you was talking with Zion Lex, you actually talked about being raised in the Christian faith and whatever. When you think about morals and code of ethics, yeah, where do you draw that from in your personal life? And if you're trying to say to the wider community, this is how best to go about our daily lives, where do you kind of draw those examples? Is it a mere nature thing? Is it a biblical thing? Is it across the board? How do you do it?
Well, you know what? When it comes to rules and regulations, I don't want anybody out there to feel like they need a book to teach them not to sleep with a man's wife. I don't want anybody to feel like they need a book to tell them don't rob and don't steal. Those things are started from at home. And what happens is when you have a broken home, sometimes parents are not there to guide their children. But even in the streets, there's codes in the streets that say, hey, don't rob your brother. Don't sleep with your brother's wife. There's code. They don't need no book for that. There's just code in the streets. Oh, you're gonna date your man's daughter or date your man's sister. You know what I'm saying? Your homie. You're not, those are things you're just not going to do. But as far as what I follow, a guide, there is a program by a brother from Kemet Press that wrote a book called Moral Living, and that's going to be the constitution for whenever I start an abandoned town. And that book it addresses everything regarding moral living, how to live, how to treat your brother. It addresses stressful situations and so forth. So as far as a book per se,
What's the name
it's
of the book?
called it's from the University of Kemet Press. It's called Moral Living. All right, and that book, you don't even need a Bible, you don't need a Quran. You could just use that book. And what the brother did was he did the primary research, and then in a modern sense,
he has brought, and you see my brother Sean just joined us. Sean, put University of Kemet's book in the side so that people could see it and if they want to purchase it. But that's the book that I use as a guide. And that book is fab. It addresses every situation that you could think of. All right. It's called Moral Living and Guiding Principles by the University of Kemet Press.
Okay.
So that's the book I would advise anybody to get. That's going to be my so-called quote unquote constitution for the first abandoned town that I'm going to start.
Okay. 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 It's not too bad. Where did you first discover that book? How, like, at
I
what
probably
point?
like probably like 2 years ago. But of course, I mean, as far as growing up in a church, I automatically got certain principles out of the church. I'm not going to run from that. But those same principles are in every culture. Even if we go West Africa, they might not have written it down. It was there. They had moral principles in all these cultures. There's always, and the thing about us as Africans is we adapted to this whole thing about it has to be in a book. It has to be in a book. We had oral tradition and culture that we carried on, and you had to act a certain way because everything is a part of your culture. The foods that you eat, certain celebrations, New Year celebrations. Sir, if you look into the culture, the Akon culture, for example, or even the Igbo culture, you see certain things already embedded in the people from birth. In Ghana and West the Akon people, they would name you based on the day that you were born. So my name, I was a Saturday born, but I was a fourth child. So my name would have been Kwame Annan. That would have been my name in my culture because I'm a Saturday born and I'm a fourth child. That's something that's embedded in the culture. It didn't have to be written down. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have to write it down to make sure that process is carried on. And it's carried on even today. So the culture, it's a part of the culture. So the moral living don't have to be written down. So I don't want the audience to feel like I needed the moral living and guiding principles from University of Kemet Press. I already knew before that you don't need to sleep with your best friend's wife. You don't need to sleep with you don't need to you don't need to be a homosexual. You don't need to do that. I don't need a book to tell me that. I'm at the point right now I could live it. Like I always tease the Hebrew Israelites, I'm living your laws better than you. I'm living the laws better than you that you profess. So, hey, and I want to make it clear to everybody, I am not down in the book. I'm saying that the laws that's in the book are very good and we need that. But the problem is I don't want us to hold up on a book and laws to say that we can't unite because you don't follow this book or you don't follow that book. Any town that I'm developing, it has to be people who want to move on. Because for one, who want to live in a town where 5-year-olds are getting shot in their head because of crossfire? Who want to live in that neighborhood? I don't want to live in that neighborhood. I don't want my children being raised around that. That could have been my son. I don't want to be living around that. I want to get away from that. And people like to say, "Oh, why you want to move away from where you grow up?" It's not about that. It's about keeping yourself safe and limiting your interactions with people who are not from your community. That's what it's about. Period.
I hear you. I hear you. I definitely hear that opinion. You know, I think that's this again. Something we was talking about beforehand was debate, discussion, build, whatever that song that I had the other day with Divine Prospect, Brother Jabari, Shaka Most, Captain Tazariak was there, Daniela was there, Hashar was there, Reggie was refereeing or presiding. Obviously, Baba Haru was there, Sarnetta was there, obviously, should I say, and Baba Haru was there. And one of the things that they were talking about or trying to build on was how are they going to galvanize, you know, these different communities with their different so-called faiths and beliefs. Like, how do you get people to kind of drop that at the door? How do you recreate the Marcus Garvey type 7 million people plus coming together? So in your opinion, and it was unfortunate that you wasn't there based on everything that we've seen of you lately. So, if you was there and you could have interjected at that point, what would you have said to that?
The truth of the matter is the only thing that can unite us, it has nothing to do with laws or moral living. The truth is economic empowerment would be the best religion. And everybody says, oh, if you have economic empowerment, what if the person is a thief? Let me tell you something. You could claim you're a Christian, You could claim you're a Muslim. You could claim you're a Hebrew Israelite. You could claim anything. That doesn't mean you're going to follow it. That's a personal choice. Let me tell you something. A lot of the folks who was in Malcolm X organization said that, let's unite. Come on, Malcolm, I'm down with you. And guess what? Half of them was agents. Anybody can claim something and jump up and say, yeah, I'm with it. Well, guess what? They might be doing something in the background. The brother from Atlanta who recently died, they claimed this of HIV and AIDS, the pastor. He was alleged to have slept with 4 boys in his church, and he was one of the staunch proponents of anti-gay marches in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So living a lie is what we do as human beings. We like to pretend. We like to showboat. We go to parties and we wear the most expensive clothes, the best Gucci bag, and do everything, but we really can't even pay our rent. We are a people that pretend. We are pretenders. So since we are pretenders, anybody can pretend to follow the laws and the commandments, but you don't know what they're doing in the background. This person could be a thief or a robber or somebody plotting to overthrow you just to see you set up the abandoned town, Garfield, and then they come stab you in your back. All of a sudden, you can't find Garfield. He's missing. Somebody kidnapped him and buried him in the back because of jealousy, envy, greed, and hatred. Those 4 devils. So saying that, what I would have said is that, listen, the only thing that we could unite on, a couple of things. One, we are so-called black. And when we say black, we mean the essence out of which all colors, our nations, our cultures come from. Black African people. 1, we're black. 2, we're in the Western Hemisphere. And 3, as long as we live in this area and we're not united, we're in a whole lot of trouble. Those are the 3 things. So what can get black folks galvanized today? Because in the 60s, you had human rights issues. You had the civil rights issues. You had a bunch of issues that we had. We had the cops doing crazy stuff. Not saying they're not doing crazy stuff now. But what could unite us is this. I have a 9-point plan. And the 9-point plan addresses what's going on in our community. But the bottom line is the utopia that the best utopia that we could ever have is moving from where we are and developing our own community. That's the only solution. The Maroons are living by themselves freely in Jamaica. They have the same 5 communities still exist today. They are policing themselves. So now, why can't we develop that type of atmosphere here in America? You have hundreds of abandoned towns. If these Hebrews are so united, my brother, you're telling me they can't get 100 of them together and clean their credit up, get some credit cards and lines of credit, and create $150,000 for each person, and times that by 100, which is 15 million. You're telling me if these Hebrews are so united outside of us, because they look at us as heathens, why can't they do that? Get the 50 million, buy an abandoned town for 2 million, move your people to the town. The Mormons did it. Right now in Utah, you can't even get drunk after about 30 drinks because every drink in Utah is watered down. You can't get drunk. It's almost impossible because of their culture. They have put their culture and what they believe in and made the state adapt to it. So what I'm saying is we can do that. In Connecticut, they got abandoned towns. In Georgia, in South Carolina, North Carolina, they have abandoned towns all over this country. Get away from these people. Get away from it. And get away from the people in your own community who is doing BS. Get away from all of it. But the solution is economic empowerment. We need to empower ourselves with a plan and have a plan of action that's going to get us away from the communities that are killing us and away from the cops that are killing us, and just move away. Get away as fast as possible. And the Hebrews have an opportunity. You claim you're united because of your Bible and your laws. Why is it that you're living in the same communities as everybody else who is suffering? If your God is coming back to save you, you're telling me the good is going to suffer for the bad, like the traditions in the Bible? So if you're living by the laws and the commandments and your God is going to save you, why don't you move somewhere away from the people so that you don't get caught in the crossfire? Isn't that the smartest thing to do? So that God will come and say, hey, my people are right there. I won't destroy that area. Zap. You know what I'm saying? If that's why can't you unite? If your Bible is so good, where is the unity within the Hebrew community? I don't see it. I don't see economic, like everything is not about money. And that's another thing with folks who came over who are descendants of slaves. We are ashamed to make money. We are ashamed to pool our resources. We are ashamed to open up our own barbershop. We're ashamed to open up our own pharmacies, our own hospital. We're ashamed because we're not supposed to have anything. And that's the problem. We got mental issues. So how are you going to help me? You could follow the laws and the commandments, but you still got a mentality of inferiority. So if you have that mentality of inferiority, how is the laws and the commandments going to save you? It can't save you. It can't do nothing for you because you always think you're inferior to the people who are on top and believe that you shouldn't be rich. You shouldn't be, everything is not about money. Really? How do you pay your bills? Do you pay with an IOU? Do you tell Jesus to pay? How many bills has Jesus paid for anybody? I'm not disrespecting Jesus. How many bills has Muhammad paid for anybody? Cricket.
I'm totally, yeah. I'm hearing some of the angles that you're coming from, yeah, definitely. Listen, I gotta big up my co-host, yeah, that's just joined us, Terry Riggs. Talk to the people, Mister. Talk to the people, them.
Peace and love, brother.
Garfield.
What's up, King? Thanks for the invite, man. Thanks for
Yeah.
the invite, beloved. Let me ask you this before you say anything. When you told me you wanted me to come on, what you thought my reaction was gonna be? You're like, I don't know if Garfield gonna want to come on, man. What did you say, bro?
No, I felt the energy as you know the connection. You see, you coming from Jamaica and you being the Caribbean, you have a connection with the UK. So it comes in that family energy. I had that feeling that you was gonna come. So I knew you would come on that platform because it's, you know what, the world is bigger than just each person's state. Do you understand? It's not just about, let's say, Brooklyn, or it's just about London. This stage is much more bigger. And when you've been abroad or you've come from somewhere else, you realize that, you know, where people that are living in an area or staying in that vicinity, they don't see that because they don't travel to see it.
Hey, you know, it's a beautiful thing that I was a great, see, every time I go on a show, I always talk a little bit about my life. My dad was upset that I came to America because if you know my name Garfield, and if you're from the Caribbean, everybody know who I'm named after. I'm named after what they call the Michael Jordan of the Caribbean, who is Sir Garfield Sobers, the late great Sir Garfield Sobers. So my father named us after each individual who he loved. He loved Muhammad Ali, so he called my brother's middle name is Cassius, named after Cassius Clay. And he named my first brother after him. So his name was Marcus. So he was named after Garvey. And my uncle was in Garvey's, was a secretary for Garvey in Cuba. So there's a lot of history. You know, my moms would tell me about what he said and so forth regarding Garvey. So there's a lot of culture, rich culture behind me in my history. Now, when I was leaving to come to the United States, I made there was a club called the Kingston Cricket Club. And I made that Kingston Cricket Club when I was 14 years old, one of the youngest persons ever to join the organization at the age of 14. And when I came to America, what happened was my dad was upset because he named me Garfield for a reason, to play cricket. So the option was either I was so good at cricket, I could have gone to England and probably make one of them top teams. That's how good I was at cricket. You know, but I never saw money in cricket. And it's amazing. There is a lot of money in cricket now. Back then, it wasn't that much, but there's a lot of money in cricket right now. You know, but that was my original intent. So when you say London, I actually was invited 3 times to come to London. And I was going to come August 19th, but I have to be in Texas that day for the RBG conference, which is the biggest RBG conference annually. I'm going to be a speaker at the conference. And I couldn't turn that down because it's everybody's dream to be a headliner at the RBG conference. And I'm gonna come to England, man. Some people are cooking up some
Because
stuff
you
because they
know,
want me. Mm-hmm.
because you know, in over here, we're trying to plan a big one over here in October. So you know, Queen of Fua's son, Ali the Great.
Yes, sir.
He wants to get people from the States to come to London, and we're trying to bring scholars from London into the vicinity at the same. So finding a bridge where we can actually meet together and able to work and network together in that format. You know, so it would be nice to come in that month because that's Black History Month over here. So,
Right.
in that aspect. But
yeah, definitely. I'll definitely come over there. I have my uncle who is the last person alive on my mother's side. I mean, he's there, and I'm definitely gonna come see him too. You know, but definitely, I am willing to come to England. I mean, I've been invited 3 times, and I want to come. It's not like I don't want to come. I want to come, and you know,
there's so much here. It's what we call it. What we say is we live in the lion's den.
Yeah, definitely. When you think about Oleander Equiano, the brother who claimed, the whole Igbo tradition and all that stuff, you think about the work that he did. And as far as the abolitionist movement and stopping slavery and people returning back to Africa, the Paul Coffey movement, taking people back to Liberia or Freetown and so forth, you think of the great work. So there's a lot of rich history that we don't talk about because hey, let me ask you a question. The brothers who claim to be ISUPK in England, how are they a part of the tribes when England is not a part of the tribes? What do they claim they are? I'm curious because they're not on the 12 tribe chart.
I think they keep claiming it through the West, the Jamaican heritage. That's how they're gonna try to connect those dots, like
through the Caribbean.
What people went directly to Europe and England.
Listen.
So they're not a part of the 12. I'm not saying you support it. I'm just curious, brother. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you got the other Hebrews. You got the other Hebrews as well. The what they call themselves again? The ones that wear the purple front.
IUIC.
Yeah, they come in abundance over here at the moment.
I don't think they claim the whole tribal stuff though.
No. Yeah,
but they're really Christians. They're really like Christians and brothers, just Christians. They ain't no, you know, they ain't no serious craziness like that.
They're very ignorant. They're very ignorant.
Well,
a couple guys from America that's over here with them.
I mean, it's a lie is easier to tell than the truth. So at the end of the day, you're always gonna have lies. You know, lies are always it's easier to tell, it's easier to believe. Somebody saying that they could feel your vibration all the way from Turkey and you live in America. They're like, yeah, man, you know, something came to me in my dream and told me about you. And, you know, that's easier to believe than the actual truth. I like your work, my brother. And I'd love to, you know, dialogue with you instead of saying you got a dream about me. That's harder to believe. The truth is harder to believe than the lie. It's harder.
Exactly.
You know, so I could run around and tell people that, you know, I'm this tribe and that tribe when everybody from the Igbo and the Akan, the Wolof and all these different tribes are all over the Caribbean, all over America, but yet still they want to part the people up into different tribes. Or you're part of the GAD tribe, you're part Simeon, you're this, you're that. You know, the stupidity is real, man. It's real.
And the funniest thing is that my parents are from Nigeria, and I have lived in Nigeria. And what you would find with the Igbo people, it is far from being Hebrew. Its majority of Igbo people are Roman Catholic. So it's only reason that they're trying to inject that Hebrew thing to make them feel that they have a form of lineage. But when you go to the core of the Igbos, they practice voodoo. You understand? And then the Igbos are in different parts where you have some of the Igbos that live on the other side, which are part of Cameroon.
Yep. Hey, Tunji, shout out to Tunji Legba, man. Peace and love, brother. And shout out to Joseph Coleman, man. Black power to the family. Peace and love, brother. Tony Mason, what's up? Strange Maid, you know what it is, Queen. All right, let me say this to the family that's listening, man.
Yeah.
To claim you're conscious is basically, we know what the word means. It means to be awoke, awaken. But I want to take the definition and tweak it a little bit, because we all got a little pseudo in us. But let's do this for a minute. To be conscious means you don't follow what your slave master taught you. That's what conscious is. You don't bring to your family what the slave master brought to you. Because Elijah Muhammad said it best. If a man don't teach you right, if a man don't treat you right, what makes you think he's going to teach you right? So I am telling everybody right now, we need to rewrite the books. We are qualified. We are well studied. We need to rewrite the books. We know ain't nobody talk about no Shem, Japheth, and Ham until way after the 3rd century BC. There's no record of anybody saying, I'm praying to the God of Isaac, Abraham, or Jacob. There's no records of that until the Jews and the Greeks had a fusion and they joined forces in Alexandria, Egypt. There's no records, nothing implying. Even when you go to the Elephantine, salute, sister, Strange Maid. Even when you look at the Elephantine papyri, or look at the records, you see that they were commanded to perform Passover. They didn't do it on their own. They were commanded by the king Darius, who was the Persian king. And there's also a theory that Darius was the one that started Judaism. Because if we really want to know the truth, there's really no such thing as Judaism. There's just a version of Yahwism. And when I say a version of Yahwism, people need to understand that there was a God named Yahweh or Yah, and people worship that God, but they also worship other gods. If you look at Judah, look at the archaeology in Judah, they found over 3,000 dolls with Asherah. You know, they like to condemn us and say, oh, they have their little voodoo dolls in Africa. They had their dolls in Judah where they'd walk around and they would have Yahweh and Asherah. And they found Asherah in abundance near where the so-called Solomon Temple was. So how is it that when the Persians came in, all those things disappeared? So the worship of one God, who was Ahura Mazda to the Persians, but the Persians, when they took over, they would respect the God of the land, because they would write over your prophecy. And if you read Isaiah, you see a lot of stuff that's in the Yasna text, or in the what's that word again? Robon, the word for the text for the Persians. It's the Yasna and the other text. The Vesta, right? The Vesta. Thank you. So when you look at those texts, they compare Isaiah to those texts, and they see almost stuff that's identical. So when they say that Darius started Judaism, it means a new type of religion that would be like a state religion. Because guess what happened? The Hebrews, according to their history, say that they used to go by bloodline. But once the Persians took over, the bloodline was stopped and it became a high priest system. That's evidence in the New Testament. There's evidence in the Old Testament for this. And if you look at Nehemiah 12:22 and Nehemiah 12:26, you see there's a priest name there that's during the time of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was when? In the 4th century, late 4th century, right? How is it that Nehemiah was in the 5th century and he's writing about something that's in the late 4th century? Hey, something to think about, right? But what is the Garfield's proof? Garfield's proof is Nehemiah 12:26 that actually speaks of someone who lived during the time of Alexander the Great. It's a dagger. Yes, it is. But that's what we do. We're the dagger squad. So now when we look at the Chronicles now, we see that Chronicles cut off at a certain point before Jesus existed. How could Chronicles be written all the way down there? You know? Peace to Sci-Fi living in the building. Peace to Matt J. Yes, sir. But I want to say this to everybody. What you believe, if you believe Noah story to be literal, and you're going to live and die with that, I'm not going to argue with you about anything, because we all know you can't prove Noah, you can't prove Abraham, and you can't prove Abraham's children, and you can't prove Jacob had 12 sons or 13 or whatever he had. You can't prove it. You can't show and prove it. And if you can't show and prove it, what is there to talk about?
Listen.
I want everybody to do their own research. But understand this, though. I'm not bashing your religion. It's time for you to get conscious. And I'm saying, whatever your slave master put on you, as long as you get away from that, now you're becoming conscious. That's the true meaning of consciousness. Removing the shackles of what the slave master taught us. That's consciousness. And once we get to that point, it's the beginning of a bright future for you. Now, if you choose to believe in that and stay in that, that's on you. But that don't mean I don't want to unite with you or work with you, because I work in America and I have my own businesses, and I've never said to anybody, all these Hebrews that call me for help, economically speaking, always identify themselves as a Hebrew. I don't know why. I don't know if they think I'm not going to work with them, or don't take their money, or don't do the work for them properly. I don't care what you are. Economics don't look at color. Economics look at how much money they could make. They look at the green. They don't look at black, white, brown. They don't look at prophecies that are lies. They don't look at that.
Well,
and Mike Majestic, peace and love to him. But I want to say something also. I'm going to do a presentation on Sonnet in the near future. And one of the most damaging things is, if you notice, I asked Zion Lex to go on his phone and read a scripture for me, Deuteronomy 18, where it talks about if the prophet speaks a lie, he is false. I have evidence, very strong evidence within the text of the Bible, that Jeremiah, Isaiah, Daniel, and what's the other one? Ezekiel, all made big time errors and false prophecies. So now, if you're going to be in a conversation with Garfield and you're bringing up those prophets, you got it and say, oh, the prophecies match up with today. No, they don't. People have gone through several different things in their lifetime within the last 4,000 years. I remember the Assyrians had a prophecy that because of the oppression and the way the people are treated, God is going to end the world. Has the world ended yet?
That was
I remember 4,000 years ago.
I predicted that.
Yeah, they predicted that too. And I don't understand how an organization still exists after they made such a false prophecy. I don't get it. These guys are irrelevant. They're trying to keep us down, and people don't realize it. ISUPK is telling us to wait and see for God to send down 2 million angels and for God to do something for them. Wait and see. And every time you talk,
brother, I got to interject. I got to interject because, like, we're going in right now. We're going in, and there's so many angles. And I wish, and I got to give a shout out again right now to Sarnetta for doing that show the other day, because trust me, it was quality. It was a good watch. I know other people watched it as well. I wish you could have been there, Garfield, because it would have been interesting to hear you talk. Because all the things you've talked about, the flood, how we're going to come together, if you believe in certain aspects and angles, we're all covered and touched on. But before we get to that and you go in any further, what I want to ask you about is the Zion Lex confrontation that you had, where you sat down. I'm calling it a confrontation.
But before you go into all that, right? Just before you go into all that, a little bit of promotion for a couple shops and their products.
Look, that's all economics. Tell them.
All right. So all I'm just saying to you, all the London crowd and all the people that are watching, there's a shop called the Ankh Wellbeing, right, which is at the 10 Aguilay Grove, Shepherd's Bush. They sell what we call, as I said, let me try and see if I can put a light to it. It's called the Shungai Stone, which if you can see, if I can get this light working, But if you could see this rock in my hand, this is a Shongai stone. So it's good to have in your house, which can take radiation from your mobile phone, from your computers, and whatsoever. And then the second part of it is that you can actually put the minerals into your water. They sell this in the Mad Hat Center in Shepherd's Bush. If you need to phone up, it's 0208 743 1985. I repeat, 0208 743 1985. And with that, you can get the Marandina products as well, which is the Marandina B, which is good for blood circulation. Marandina A, as you can see, is good for the vitamins and minerals. They both go together so that the minerals and vitamins can circulate around the body, right? Then you've got another shop, which is in the Brixton Station Road, which is, what's the name, Richie? Is it Netta Vital? Which you can get the Queen Nafua's products of all different types, plus other products of oils and all kinds of stuff that you can provide for your health and well-being in Brixton Station Road. Then we have another store which we call Pampanzi, which is in Brixton Hill, right? And his name is Basil, Brother Basil, and he has all the books that you need and all the vitamins that you need and picture frames, you name it, he has it. So if you have the opportunity to go to any of these vicinity of these shops, please keep on buying from them. So this is how we can grow and connect. Thank you, brother. Keep it up. Go on.
That's all. Real talk, Terry. Real talk, real talk, real talk. Yeah. Again.
Yeah.
Gotta keep that black pound circulating.
Oh, Richie, let the other guy talk. He's got something to ask.
Who's this? Who's got to speak?
Rabon. Yeah.
Rabon, your mic is unmuted. You can speak, brother.
Yeah, he's speaking, Richie.
Yeah, I wanted to know what other organizations that y'all got out there as far as that's teaching knowledge and what channels y'all have.
Okay, we have what we have is we got an organization called the Manhood Academy, which we work with, which works from raising the young ones into being men. Right? We have organizations like Nation of Islam, which is the head of Nation of Islam that answers to Farrakhan, which his name is Hillary. We have the Nawabians. We have, as you know, we have ones called the Coptic Church. We've got a Sarah set. We've got the Rasta movement. There's two different types of movements, which they do the reparations march on every 1st of August. What other kind of organizations are you looking at?
Nah, I just wanted to know because I wasn't really sure. So what about Pan-African
yeah, we've got the Pan-African groups. We've got loads of them. We've got there's about 2 or 3 different types of groups, which a lot of them are more onto the elders.
I remember, I mean, we've just had Anthony Broder over. He spoke at the African Liberation Day movement, which was what's that, PCAM? And they are a coalition.
It's Pan-African Congress.
That's right. And they were the one that hosted Anthony Broder over. You can see footage on Black Eyes TV coming up. There's already bits of him talking for them. So they're a prominent organization. We got Black History Studies who are out there spreading knowledge, doing screenings of films.
Put it this way. We are a mirror reflection of you lot.
Right.
Whatever
I just wanted to. I think it's important.
We have it on a smaller scale.
Right. I just think it's important to know that so that everybody that's listening or watching, we could go check it out because we don't know. I don't know this. Yeah. I know about Titans TV. I just found out about this.
Yeah.
It's good to see that this brother's building, and then we can share information and go back and build. So I think that's something I wanted to just interject in there before we go back in the building so people could grab that.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. All right. All right, then, Richie, continue.
Yeah, people, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so again, as far as channels go, again, I want to remind people, big up to HFPTV. Yeah, got Kush TV. We've got Callum L on Talk with the Titans, of course, doing it. So these are a few channels that are out there. I know there's more. Yeah. Over time, we will continue to promote them because that is something we do here on Black Eyes TV 7.
And we're working. We're all working together to make one media.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Nice.
Garfield.
Nice.
Garfield.
Garfield. He's taking Garfield. He's gone off. But just reflect on what we've talked about so far, so I have an understanding. Richie. Hello. Richie.
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you, brother.
Yeah. So basically, so us bridging this gap, what kind of stuff do you lot do on your perspective? Anyone want to speak up? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, brother.
Yeah. I would say, what do you do, by the way?
I'm the Dagger Squad bomb squadron leader. My name is Maru.
Okay.
They also call me the bully scholar.
Okay.
They only let me loose when it's time to get somebody beat up.
So you've got the resume of the books behind you.
I'm the old guy, man.
You're the old guard.
The old salty dog.
And what is it that besides besides the information, what else do you feel that we need to do to bridge a gap?
Between all these different factions?
Yeah.
I think that's a lesson in futility. The fact that we're divided, it says it all right there. That we can't all get under one banner and put our differences and our ideologies behind us. Okay. I think one of the biggest problems is that goddamn Bible. Oh, I'm sorry, it slipped.
What is your preference on that Bible?
I keep one by my toilet just in case I run out of paper. That's a joke, brother.
I know, I hear that, but there's certain people that are trying to learn and try to understand what's going on, and they swear by it, they channel themselves by it, and it's a problem because they're now bringing that book into forms of us trying to bridge in forms of business and how to relate things. They're bringing that book as their guideline, as their conscious guideline. Do you find that a lot in the States?
We have a place in the States that we call the Bible Belt, where people are so hopelessly inured with that Jewish mythology that it's so ridiculous, man. You have no idea about the southern United States and their
we get it over here.
I'm sorry, brother.
I said we get it over here because as you would see, people in the States. It's the same over here. We just have it on a small scale, but when we have a lot of fresh people even coming from Africa, they are fixated in that book.
Whether you see that in Nigeria right now. You see this Boko Haram stuff. Yeah. Two indigenous religions that are not two religions that are not indigenous to Africa, and people killing each other. Can't even tell them apart. Look, it's like brothers, but they kill each other over it. That don't make no sense to me.
Like even over here in the UK, we got this thing what we call Speaker's Corner, where it's freedom of speech. You can say whatever you like in this corner.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and what's happening lately is it's been dominated by a lot of Muslims, and the Muslims they go by that book like 100%. You can't critique it. You can't open it up. they just go into that philosophy and they will riddle round in circles. But what we're doing is we're trying to get more people of open mind state to take that baton onto the plate. Where you got a lot of guys that step up onto the plate. There's a lot of guys are kind of not pushing themselves forward to doing that.
Yeah. Well, I heard of one of our famous scholars. He said that, you realize there's more African Muslims than there are Arab Muslims in the world.
Yeah.
Right, because Africans have always had an open mind when it came to like new things and other cultures.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point where it's like Africans have a love everybody else but other Africans kind of disease. And that's been our downfall, in my opinion.
Yeah. And this is why, as I said to you, that I'm trying to connect with Garfield and connect with all you lot, is for us to able to grow within our vicinity and find formats of ways how we can do a form of joint adventures so that we can create that economical system where we can back each other no matter where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So that we can able to push forward in that form of scheme. So if we have a lot of media templates going around amongst ourselves, then we can be economically strong, then we can able to push into that political arena.
Mm-hmm.
But the problems that as I was saying to you, we're finding, like today we had voting, and they're saying that they're saying that we should all go and vote. But the problem is with us going to vote is that because we're not economically strong, we are very weak. So our votes really, even though it's a tiny minute, it still becomes irrelevant.
Well, here in America, they pick who you're going to vote. So, one of our sisters, she said once that we suffer from the illusion of inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Because here in America, we have this electoral college. So even though Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, she actually got more votes, than Donald Trump. She still lost because the electoral college, voted Trump in. So, like I said, I think our people have always been under the assumption that, of us contributing to the system that oppresses us is some way to, get forward, and that's asinine to me. You're participating in a system that 50 years ago, ever since we got the right to vote, 1863, economically, Black people's situation here in America hasn't changed one bit. We still controlled about 0.5% of the America's total wealth. And you know what we control in 2017? 0.5% of America's total wealth. So economically, we haven't moved 1 inch since they gave us the right to vote. Mm-hmm. And Black people are the only people, and my ancestors, I can trace my ancestors to, 1635 here in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So some of my ancestors have been here 300 years, damn near, before Europeans. But, that system hasn't availed us at all. We've been included in it, but they find ways to alienate you, like to make sure the Black population has never increased more than 6% for any major city, so that you really can't have a good power base to get anything done. In local elections, that's a different story, brother. I'm talking about like national elections. Who's really in charge? Putting the president in the United States.
But it's the same thing over here, because we have the local, and then the locals is when, like, what we call the local council. And then once you get the leader for that local council is where they have to get a seat in the House of Commons. So if we don't have even a person to represent us as a form of a seat, we're already in trouble.
Right.
So it's the majority of seats in the House of Commons is who's going to win that election. So even though when they say that we should try from local to making our way up, but as I said, for us to even get close to that way up, it's going to be a lifetime. But I always say there's no harm in trying, But for us at this precise moment, we need some form of economical power, like the Asians have over here. The Asians have that much power to able to dictate, to put one of their political guys forward, which we don't have at all.
Well, there's an agenda, brother. It's obvious. Well, they always want to keep black people at the bottom. I think I brought this up in another show that we did. That you know, I meant to go in and tell you about about the Jim Crow laws and the educational requirements that they had for you just to have the ability to vote. You know about the civil rights movement and Medgar Evers, may he rest in peace, who was trying to organize the ability for us to vote. Black people are the only people who are indigenous population of America. You know, they have to renew our right to vote every 20 years. They could take that away from us at any time if the next president doesn't renew that Civil Rights Act. That is not a law here.
Yeah. So go and give us a quick breakdown on that John Crow law.
Oh, Jim Crow laws?
Yeah.
Well, as soon as they had a period, I wish Danny was here, one of our other Dagger Squad members. They had this period we call Reconstruction, when they tried to act like we were going to let have our token blacks basically rise to positions of some kind of importance. And they immediately saw, because white people have always been afraid that, once they let these peace-loving people who you've been abusing for 300 years free, that we were going to immediately turn around and seek revenge for all the bad things they did once we were free, right? So they started the Ku Klux Klan, which the National Rifle Association started at the same time. So white people's, their fears caused them to we can't let these people get out of here and, just integrate into the society. So they start coming up with all these different laws, what they call the black codes or the Jim Crow laws, to keep us in a certain economic and political status where we couldn't really have any real voice in the government. So after 100 years, we move up to Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers and the Black Panther Party and everybody else, and you saw what happened to all of them, didn't you? I don't know what white people have to do to us to make us understand it. They don't want us to be part of their political process.
Exactly.
Personally, I've never voted because who's counting the votes?
Listen, and I got interjected this way. I got to say I 100% agree. I don't agree with voting. I don't think it's going to do anything.
No.
And just before I speak on the English thing, the American one, I never forget, and I keep telling people that Fahrenheit 9/11, I know people remember that documentary for the Twin Towers bullshit, but the joke of it is that documentary starts off with all those black people standing up in Congress talking to Al Gore, who, just to slap you guys in the face, they've put to proceed over that hearing where all those black communities with those black leaders, with those petitions of names, with all those senators standing or sitting behind them who don't want to co-sign that petition so it won't be heard, and Al Gore is telling them one by one, have you got that signature? No?
Nope.
Sit
Go
down.
sit down.
That's it. So, when I see those things and then I hear Americans talk, and again, I come over to England and I hear people saying, your vote's going to count for something. I just don't understand it myself. I'm not in it. I'm looking in the chat room right now and people are saying, listen, black people should be voting for something, but not that shit. And I'm with that statement. As I always tell people, who want to vote, why don't you campaign for a vote of no confidence in none of the above people?
Can you guys hear me? This is Garfield. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Interrupt.
All right, cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, as I said, let's just have a place on the form where you can say, I don't want none of those candidates. Yeah. Campaign for that. Let's see them put that in place on every ballot. And then at least you would have an option to say, I am not with any of the crap that I'm seeing in front of my face. Yeah. They're always telling you the statistics of how many black people supposedly don't vote and the power you don't have. Yeah. But again, as I said, there's scenarios and history tells you that when you do vote, what have you got? What policies have happened? You've just seen Obama in office. What has he done? Yeah. Talk to me, please.
Well, I'm an older guy, so I study history for just, that's my thing. So I've been finding out that Europeans have been creating these things called false flag programs ever since the Roman Empire. Remember Nero, when he wanted to burn down Rome so he could rebuild it with his name all over it? He blamed it on the Christians. So us older guys, we can remember like right around this thing when we finally got a good president that was going to try to do something for black people named John F. Kennedy, right? They had a program that they saw this rise of power over here in Cuba. You can Google it. You can Google this anytime you want to. The program was called Operation Northwoods. They did the same thing they did at 911, to provoke the Iraq war that they did way back in the 60s when I was a little kid, right? They had made this plan. What we're going to do is we're going to hijack some airplanes. We're going to dress up some people like they're foreigners, like Cubans, right? And murder some American cities. And we're going to crash these planes into some military and civilian targets to, cause this outrage so we can do this Bay of Pigs thing. And then they use this weapons of mass destruction. You remember that line?
That's right.
From the Iraq war, right?
That's
they said, oh, the Cubans, they came on NBC and CBS and ABC because that was the only national television news we had. And they showed these trucks with these ICBMs, these intercontinental ballistic missiles. White people running around getting water and building fallout shelters because they think nuclear war is going to destroy the world. Same hype that they played 40 years later. But see, everybody forgets the day before the 911 attack. They forget American history. They don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Right. The day before, the Bush administrator's leader, what's his name, Rumsfeld, they came on. They had Senate hearings about $2.3 trillion. That's trillion with a T, brother.
Yep.
$2.3 trillion of misappropriated defense budget spending.
That's where the plane hit.
That the plane hit the Pentagon right where the records of that 2.3 trillion. I don't know if you remember about the $1 million toilet seat on the shuttlecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the Republicans get in, they steal all the money. You already know the program, right? They're cutting all the programs for the poor, for the elderly, for the minorities. You know what's going on. So, other white people looking the other side, the Democrats are looking at them like, why you spending $1 million on a toilet seat? Where all this money going? $2.3 trillion missing. Next day, they do this scenario, and that the attack on the World Trade Centers was actually a NORAD training drill, right? For an attack on the World Trade Center. Yeah. And they scrambled the screens of all the loyal American pilots so that they would see these false blips. So even if they saw the planes coming, they wouldn't be able to detect it on their radar.
Yeah.
This is all common knowledge. A good article for you to look for is an article called Bush Family's Dirty Little Secrets. Because the day that's what you saw in Fahrenheit 911. He's hooked all up with the Osama bin Laden family. Bush had an oil company. They were funneling millions of dollars, the Saudis. So it's called Arbusto Oil. I don't know if you guys know this, but I think Michael Moore was listening to me years ago talking on the internet about all this stuff. And that's how he made that movie. Everything starts somewhere, brother. And I
feel you, brother. I feel you. Well, listen. I got to remind the people, big up to everybody that's supporting us, watching it. Big up to the chat room right now. It's going crazy. Debates back and forth from what I can see. What to do next. How to best plan it. It's all going on. Yeah. Thank the Dagger Squad for joining us. Big up to Garfield
thanks
as
for having
well.
us.
Where are you? You still there, Garfield, with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I just invited a special guest too, man. He's about to come in.
Woo!
Okay.
A special guest, one of the brothers that
Look at this.
yeah, I just invited somebody on to come give y'all a shout out real quick.
All right,
you owe me a check, sucker.
Yeah, we're about to start a show. Start a show also within the next 15 to 20 minutes. We're gonna have Brother Class of Shabazz, Brother Truth Storian from the Dagger Squad, and I invited Lord Abba to come on, but he don't want to have a discussion on my channel with the brother. So I told him, I said, it's only fair. I said, I don't agree with you, but at least I have the respect to invite you.
you know, and he has refused to come on. But I did invite my brother to come on for a few minutes. I'm waiting for him to jump on the link right now. A
Okay.
special guest,
Well,
special guest, special guest, special guest.
brother, while
Yeah.
we're waiting for the special guest, yeah, just yeah, talk just touch on that quick, like Zion Lex.
Zion Lex
Yeah,
thing. Well,
please.
The Zion Lex thing, we got to understand. The brother has a book with no references in the book, so that means I hope you guys just heard what I said.
Well, he
I
has
He
heard
has
references, but they're
no
false.
references.
He has
Well,
references, but they're
not in
false.
the book though. Not in the book.
Well, the Jeremy Black and the Karen Radner, he just bold-faced
That's it.
lied.
That's it. Well, that's on the Shaka debate. That's on the Shaka debate. But I'm talking in the book, physically in the book. He don't have no references. He has a bibliography, and then what he did at the back was lie. He said the book is from information from these books is used in here, but it couldn't be because it doesn't match up. There's nothing in his writings that match up with half the books. I don't even think he read half the books that he had. So if you notice on the debate, he brought all the books in. And when he brought all the books in, those books were not in the back of his book. So we got to understand what the brother did was something that nobody has ever done. And I think I did a good job in pointing that out. But you know, some people are slick. He said that I claimed copyright. I never claimed copyright infringement, not one time. He claimed that he could use the brother's book. Well, I don't know why I'm calling L.A. Wadell a brother, because that guy's an enemy to black people from the jump.
Yeah,
What?
man. Not to
I
cut you off.
misspoke.
Not to cut
I
you off,
misspoke.
Garfield. Not to cut you
Yeah.
off, but I think that's one of the major things that everybody needs to know on who these people are using when you're dealing with the Sumerian literature, saying that these people are the founders of Egypt, and they're using this L.A. Waddell guy who knows scholars. Nobody recognizes his work. They debunk it, and then this guy says that the Sumerians and the Egyptians are white people. They're Aryans. How can you use that and talk to us? That is the more important than the copyright infringement. That's more important. This guy not plagiarizing, putting the citations in it. How would we be? No, we're not gonna let you get away with doing that, bro. You can't do that. Nah.
Yeah. One of the things that we also pointed out is that he's using that guy's pseudo way of trying to connect Egyptian pharaohs or Egyptian kings. Let me not even use the word pharaoh, the Egyptian kings with the kings that are in Samaria, saying that this person Sargon is Menes, and if you put this word together and mix it up, and the Greeks, and you know, it's just pseudo more than anybody else. But nobody in his community is trying to correct the brother. Nobody's
Because
saying
they're not
he's
that
wrong.
smart.
Well, that's one of the problems is in our communities and every community in the world, we don't like to correct our own. If I'm wrong, brothers, you hear how strong I come out. Do you know that these two brothers beat me up every day in the
Every
background?
day.
Every
Every
day.
day.
And I have to take it like a man. But I could take correction. Not every human being can take correction. And that's why I'm so good at what I am. Because if I can't get beat up, that means I can't get corrected. Then I can't have right information. So the bottom line with Zion Lex is his whole book is a plagiarized book. His ideas are plagiarized. He has even named the third chapter after L.A. Waddell's book. L.A. Waddell's book was republished in 1969, and then it was republished again in 1990, I think. So this whole 75-year rule or whatever is just hogwash. He just didn't know that the book was republished. As a matter of fact, it was republished by a Christian right-wing organization who is a racist organization. It's just crazy. Why would a racist white organization reprint L.A. Waddell's books? Goes back to the point Alan made.
Because all the
Because
racist organizations are Christian based here in America. The Ku Klux Klan will come and burn a cross on you. The Aryan Nation, same symbols. The Christian Identity Movement, people who drag James Byrd to death. These are all Christian organizations. They have something to do with religion. Same religion that these people are promoting. It's like the most backwards behavior I've seen in my life. You know, he took an opportunity to poop all over Africa, and he thought there wasn't going to be any response or recompense. Well, you're going to pay in rivers of blood now.
Hey, but Black Eyes, you notice I was kind of smooth and laid back because I wanted a debate to happen out of this. Because at the debate, I was going to show all 49 pages and show he ain't got no sources.
There's not one page in that man's book, tell him, Garfield, that is any
No.
valuable, truthful information. It's
Exactly.
garbage.
It's total garbage. And then on top of it, he came and if you notice, he said something about I got this from Petrie. So when he said he got it from Petrie, Petrie's book is not in his bibliography.
Yeah.
So he didn't source Petrie. That's saying that it is plagiarism. He told on himself. But some people are just not that intelligent to realize that the brother is telling on himself. And then when he comes now with the whole Megan is Egypt nonsense, I had to check him and said, no, Megan is not. That's that Arabia G consciousness nonsense about such and such is Egypt and they traded with Egypt. And then when I proved to him that the material that makes a cylinder come from Egypt, he's like, that's not true. That's not true. Got him. Got him. Got him.
Garfield.
Yes,
Garfield,
sir.
We've got, you know that in England we've got a Petrie museum.
Yes, I would love to go there because a lot of people don't understand this, that Petrie is one of the biggest foundations to archaeology when it comes to Egypt. You have to give people their props. He came up with the whole dynastic race theory. Let's knock him for that. Petrie, you lost your mind. But Petrie came back and he read the information and said, hey, I'm throwing this dynastic race theory out. I was wrong. Zion Lex now takes up a theory that was denied by the person who made it up. But the key is the brother that taught Darwin, that was related to Darwin and taught eugenics, was the same guy that influenced the University and College of London, UCL. Petrie went there. Emery went there. David Roll went there. You see the common denominator? They all subscribe to the dynastic race theory.
And Marcus Garvey went to the university next door, the Berwick University.
You just taught me a true story and something. But here we go. Here's my special guest, man. My brother, my big brother, man. Anchor Ket from the Amin Ra squad in the building. I just had to bring him in, man. You talked about him earlier. We talked about him earlier. I just had to bring him on because it's not about me, as I say. If we're going to build a community, it's about everybody. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to mute my mic. I'm presenting to y'all my brother Ank.
Black Adam Power, what's good, family? How y'all doing, man?
Yeah, man, long time.
Yes, brother. Yes, brother. Yes, brother.
The last time we spoke was on the Titans TV.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
And we stayed all night talking.
Yeah, I remember that, man. So what's the conversation about, man?
Yeah, it's bridging the gap between UK and United States of America.
Yeah.
How can we trade? How can we do business? How can we move forward as one people?
I mean, that shouldn't be hard. We all come from the same place. You know, we recognize that first of all. And it's only Europeanisms that keep us separated. You feel me? To make you think you something different than me or vice versa. The fact of the matter is, man, we're the same family. We diversified in all our beliefs, right? But at the end of the day, man, we need allies. That's what we got to recognize. We never had to believe the same thing. But what we can't do is we can't run around without allies. Nobody makes it in the world without allies. And your ally does not have to believe what you believe, right? You just got to have a common goal. And so I'm sure in the UK, the common goal is, first of all, is a fight against racism, white supremacy. Racism, white supremacy kills your economic base. Racism, white supremacy attacks the family structure. Racism, white supremacy is a formidable opponent. And we can only fight racism, white supremacy allied together. That's plain and that's simple. You know what I'm saying? I say this all the time, right? Individuals win games, right? But teams win championships. So we got to recognize that and we got to do that. That's my message.
So give us a little advertisement on the products that you're releasing and the books, because people out here haven't got them books and they need them badly.
We got the books, man. We got all the books, man. We got the Beginner's Guide to Meta Nature by Ujau. We got the Meta Nature, as the Meta Nature been deciphered. You know what I'm saying? By the Chef's Meta Nature. We got the chronology of human evolution. You know, that's my little contribution to the community. We got the handbook to the conscious community by Magi. We got all of Assault Hotep's works. We got the Umrah Squad, a study guide. We got the children books produced by Brother Ben, Black Panther, you know what I'm saying, the Mossy Clan. As a matter of fact, we got two authors on three authors, his wife, a book of poetry. We got a brother on the Mossy that actually wrote an excellent book on Christianity. And so at the end of the day, man, we all booked up around here. And I think we need to really recognize that. That's essential.
That's it. That's what we like to hear.
And what about the fashion?
Opening a book, and you know, I'm gonna just throw in quickly. You know, if you go to Black Eyes TV 7, you can see other scholars like Anthony Broder, yeah, in the British Museum, chopping it up, talking about the Rosetta Stone. And just to throw it in the mix, we also have Sarah Sutan Seti in the British Museum on Black Eyes TV 7, going in, giving his rendition of the Rosetta Stone and what he thinks. So please reference it, go check it out, people. You know where the information's at. We got them all here, and I'd love one day to have the Dagger Squad come to England, and me and Mr. Riggs follow you around the British Museum and chop that up, because that would be big. Yeah, that would definitely be big.
Let me ask y'all a question, right?
Go in.
In the British Museum, the copy of the Rosetta Stone, that's just a copy of the Rosetta Stone, am I correct?
Yes.
No.
Yes,
No,
the Rosetta Stone is in Cairo, brother.
Yeah, but there's two. They stole one and they got a replica of one.
Right.
Right.
They're promoting that the real one is in the British Museum, I believe. No, that's what they're promoting.
They're promoting. Whether it's real or not.
Let me make my point. The one they got out on the floor is not the original one. It's a replica. It's not the original one. Am I right or wrong?
Because there's two. There's one in the study room, which is a replica. Yeah.
Say that again. I couldn't hear you. Say what?
There's one in the study room that is a replica, but they're claiming the other one that's in the Egyptian floor it's an original.
The one is actually
because it's original, and they have one in the back for students to study, which is supposed.
Yeah, that's in the study room.
Replica.
So what y'all saying?
So what they're saying is that the British, at one period of time, interjected. You see, when they were shipping a lot of things to France, they interjected into a few of the boats and were stealing quite a few of the French stuff. So there is a possibility it's an original.
Hey, they all thieves. Let's get that straight. Now you can't steal something that's already stolen.
Was a genius at that.
He's stealing the shit that's stolen.
Yeah, so the British have got a lot more, because they've got like a few storages around the UK, which they've got some in Manchester, Birmingham, and even storages in London. So they would sometimes deter you by even trying to give you the insight to say it's fake, but some of them may be real.
So let me ask you this. So what do you think about the commentary? My point is, what about the commentary that Sarah Sutan Seti made on the Rosetta Stone?
No, Elliot.
Let me speak this, yeah. Let me speak quickly, yeah. Let me just put this out there. I know, like, this is the realness. Black Eyes TV, we're out on these streets. People are just starting to see certain videos that we're putting out. So I know more and more people are going to reference this video more and more as it comes out. And I'm going to say this about Seti. When he came here, yeah, he was very humble. Yeah, he didn't come in on some large shit. He done his thing. But after meeting with him and speaking with him, I personally had to let him know I don't agree with none of his premises. Yeah? So, again, moving forward, go into the museum and such, it was him talking. He was allowed to go in, but I was baffled, at moments when we stood in front of the King's List. And, you know, I asked him, like, you know, that's information. Like, how do you quantify that? Or you still teach on that? Or you stand on some of those things? And, you know, as I said, after a while, it didn't even make sense me personally engaging. That's what you're asking. So I just let him do his thing, teach, say what he had to say. As I said, Black Eyes TV is a media entity. We captured it. And I gave him a chance to obviously stand by that Rosetta Stone and say whatever he wanted to say. The same way we got Anthony Broder, on the other hand, standing by that Rosetta Stone, the Shabaka Stone, and he's giving his opinion as well as his professional evidence that he's gathered on the subject, man. I think that's the major difference that you're gonna find in it. Anybody
the only thing you're going to find, brother, is people who can't read Metal Netter are the ones that are claiming that it has never been deciphered.
Well, come on, we know
But
this.
we actually have videos with SETI previous to this new attitude he then took on, where he's explaining how Budge and the Rosetta Stone was, and how the process of how they figured out the Ptolemy name and the Cleopatra name. He's on tape saying that. Anybody remember that video?
I've seen the video.
Uh-huh.
No, I need to get that.
Stance all of a sudden. Yeah, I've been trying to find that one out. I don't know if he deleted it or what, but I distinctly remember it.
Things that I saw, and that, you know, even away from the language side, just on the teaching side, again, he's still talking, for me, talks that still stem from that pathway. So again, one of the questions I asked him, and I like to ask most people that come over or I speak with, you know, according to Kemetic science, does the heart think? Or what do you think of the weighing of the heart ceremony? And again, when he started to speak, suddenly you was back home, so to speak, innit? You was just talking, because you don't have any other way to go. There is no other place to come from. So that I found that interesting, as much as you've never studied the Mare Netra, you know, you lot haven't studied any sort of linguistics or whatever else. So again, you've got all of those factors working against you, but I don't want to turn into a SETI talk. I just needed to put that out there. Black Eyes TV, we got that footage there, and that's what we do. We capture people in that British Museum talking about real things, getting the real information to the Black community, yeah? And thank you again, Unc, for blessing the channel, yeah? And thank you to the rest of the Dagger squad. I'm seeing in the chat room, yeah, one of the things that, Garfield, if you're there, one of the things that people are asking is, are you going to be writing a book?
Yeah, I gotta, my book is pretty much well, you know what, with all the things that has changed, I gotta come up with my 9-point plan book first. It's only fitting because although I've been on the Hebrews, but I do still have my book, Misconceptions and Misinformation of the Black Hebrew Israelites, Volume 1, which is gonna touch on 20 issues. You know, the whole Kumbaya is referring to Yahweh, and that the Yahuda in the Benin kingdom has to do with Judah. You know, all those things, I want to clear them up because that has a lot to do with the misinformation that we've been getting in, you know, the Israel Hill in Maryland or wherever it is. They said, oh, that was Israelites, real Israelites claiming that. And they didn't realize that was the first integrated community in America. So, you know, so the Israelites, you know, having names like Hercules. I don't know, no Hebrew guy would call himself Hercules. I don't make no damn sense. But, you know, some of the misconceptions they have, the 70 AD, talking about how they fled to Africa, West Africa at that time, when we have evidence from sources claiming that a lot of them were killed off and so forth. So, you know, those little things I'm going to clear up and clarify. Soon as I get the chance to put everything in order, have it checked and rechecked, because any book I come out with, man, you know they're gonna be on it. Like, oh, look what he did. So I gotta have like 4 or 5 people check the book before I even come out with it. You know.
Yeah, but Garfield, on that nine, is it 9-point plan?
Yes, sir.
How can we do a form of joint adventure with that 9-point plan from over
in
here?
the UK? Oh, for the UK, you know what? Go to my Dagger Squad like page, and then you look at about. And you'll see the 9-point plan. It actually works for anywhere in the world where Black folks are. Because the bottom line is, man, all of us are not going to unite. We got to get out of that mindset. We're not going to unite.
Of course, not everybody can get on the train.
But we can, through economic empowerment. I mean, I'm trying to start up a 100-man team in every state. So say, for example, Ank came out with a book tomorrow, and you had 100 men in all 50 states, right? That's 5,000 people who are on the same page. Ank won't have to worry if his book won't sell because these 5,000 people are going to support it. So if Ank sells to all those 5,000 people at $20 a pop, that's $100,000. And that's how we got to think instead of we saying, hey, I hope my book sells. If you just build up a team of 100 men in every state, there's more than 5,000 people that love the Dagger Squad and Amin Ra Squad. But I'm just using that number as a baseline for us because we got to revolutionize what we're doing. We saw our elders paying people to watch them, Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark, paying people. And now it's a time when we're telling people to come out and get the information. They don't want the information. Some do, some don't. Some people like debate, some don't. You can't please everybody. So put out the information, build a team, build a small team. Stop trying to reach all 45 million black people. It's not going to work. Everybody got their bills. Everybody got their own way. But again, it goes back to my definition of being conscious. Consciousness is people like to talk about being awoken or being awake, like you realize something new and you're changing, but you can't be a Bible believer and be conscious. It makes no sense. Anything your slave man, this is the new definition for consciousness. Anything you learn from the slave master, you need to get rid of it. Then you are able to start to be conscious. Simple as that. Get away from white supremacy, as Ank would say. White supremacy, get away from racism and white supremacy, get away from it. And that's what this book did. You know what we need to do? We need to do a show on slavery and the Bible and look at the verses in the Bible. There's a book in the Bible called, I think it's not Philippians, one of these books where the slave master used that line, that wording to justify what they were doing to us. And you have to ask yourself, why was this? No, that's in Colossians. Not that one, not the one in Ephesians either. I forgot where it is, but I'm telling you, these folks use these specific verses to justify religion, to justify what they did in slavery. And I mean, you have to let that go. I mean, you can't be conscious and be a Bible believer. I don't care what anybody says.
Can you drop PowerPoint on that?
I don't know. I don't know. I got so many things. I got like, I'm Jamaican, man. I got like 10 jobs. So I'll see what I could fit in. I'll see what I could do, man.
Okay. I can see you're sleeping there.
Oh, I ain't sleep. I'm just sitting here trying to hold my damn tongue for real. Because at the end of the day, I'm fucking pseudoisms in the motherfucking community.
I mean, how you walk around with a name like Sarah?
People around us in the damn community. All right, I'm gonna let y'all niggas go right now, right off the top, bro.
Running around with a name like Sarah and saying
I ain't even mentioned City name.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Hold up, people. Everyone's talking at once. I want to hear what Unk's got to say.
Brother,
I'm saying, here's what I'm trying to tell you. It's about changing our moral character first. I'm gonna say it again. It's about changing our moral character, right, of who we are and who we not. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's European culture that transformed, right, our worldview, and it transformed the way we treated each other. How in the hell can you sit up there in front of a bunch of black people and lie to them? How in the hell can we get where we need to get to, right? When we're being sprinkled constantly with the lie, right? How can you consider yourself conscious when you lie to the people that love you and put you on high? Man, that's the most egregious thing you can do. It's a lot of people that support you your whole fucking career, and you stand in front of them being selfish because you refuse to be wrong and you continue to lie.
That's right.
How is that possible? And why do we continue to allow that in our motherfucking community? We will never make it as black people as long as we allow crooks and liars amongst us. Plain and simple. And it ain't even fucking hard. It's not hard, man. Make people verify and prove what they're saying. If you got a goddamn business, watch this, in America, and I'm sure in Britain, they have this thing where it's called the Better Business fucking Bureau. Right? Where if you get too many goddamn complaints, right, they start checking your shit out to make sure you're straight. Right? How is that possible? And why do we continue to allow that in our motherfucking community? We will never make it as black people as long as we allow crooks and liars amongst us. Plain and simple. And it ain't even fucking hard. So if we got too many complaints about certain people and certain information, we need to check that shit out. No matter how old you are, no matter how young you are. We got to work on our moral character. You know why? Because people that are immoral, they will have you in a fucking cult. I know I was in one called the Cult of Nuwapo, Malachi York. And lives was destroyed. I'm talking about the babies, the fucking children, lives was molested. Go figure that shit out. Because people turned the other fucking way. We can't keep doing that shit. The community. We can't connect with Africans abroad as long as we stay and maintain the fucking lie. As long as we give platforms to people to lie. So if you got wild ass business practices, we need to check that shit out.
And that's where we need to start from.
All the way in nobody's business. You need to stand behind, prove that their business practices are wrong. Plain and simple, it's not that hard, man. We need to change our moral character. This, I promise you.
And that's where we need to start as a small elite to becoming big, so that we can push people that do them kind of things out.
Come on, man.
Hey, bro, I'm about to start my show. I got 12 rounds tonight. I got Flash Such a Bass coming on to discuss the video he made with Lord Abba. I invited Lord Abba. He's refusing to come on, of course. As usual. Yeah. Hank, I'll send you the link to that one if you want to come on. We're gonna start that in a few.
The show is Garfield. Tell everybody where the show is, where they can.
The show is gonna be on Dagger Squad YouTube channel. Dagger Squad YouTube channel. And listen, man, three people offered already to bring me to England. In one situation, it was also with Hank. But listen, man, we ready to come. We ready to come to England, man, and kick real shit. Not the same pseudo nonsense just to do stuff for the fan base. You know what I'm saying? The lies and all that craziness. We need to get over that. So. You know,
and a fucking museum line and shit. That's the worst shit ever, man. You niggas don't even fuck with museums. How about that? You don't even think white people can steal your shit. So why the fuck is you talking about museums? Bunch of bullshit. You wouldn't know a facsimile if you seen one. Bunch of bullshit.
But you know what though? It's true though. That's the hurtful part of it though.
Come on, man. Niggas don't even fucking with the museums. Don't even know about the loot. Like, really? Come on, man. Niggas make a living in the fucking game giving right information. That's what we do, because that's where all the stolen artifacts is. All you gotta do is read Chancellor Williams' work. He tell you, go to goddamn European nations, you know what I mean, and go into their museums. There's storehouses of stolen African artifacts. And I'm talking about in the fucking millions.
Yeah, and that's why we need you to come over, Unc. We need you to come over so you can break it down.
Hey, I can't let the motherfucker pseudo go and I don't go. That's for damn sure.
Exactly. That's right.
So you can believe that shit. Team gonna be there.
All right, listen, people, I gotta say thank you to everybody that's tuned in. I want to say thank you to the Dagger Squad. Listen, I'm going to be bringing them back because I want to touch on a few West Africa issues, a few things that were said to me. I want Rawborn to say a few more bits. Yeah. Big up to the rest of the squad. Thank you again for coming on. Yeah. Terry Rigg, co-host. Yeah. Big up to my other entities, Callum L, Talk with the Titans. Yeah, go check it out. Big up to HMP TV. Yeah. Terry, any more shouts before we go? Speak to the people.
Hey, subscribe to Dagger Squad, man. And we got the Amira Squad TV channel. You got the Dagger Squad channel.
Got a group, MBK.
Yes. MBK. We got
MBK House Consciousness.
Yeah, Black News 102, and yeah, everybody get a shout out, man.
And let's find something to move forward, because we need to bridge that gap, because we've got a bigger enemy to deal with. Not the rats that run around.
That's right.
Hey, you gotta deal with the enemies in your own house first, yo. I promise you. If you don't kill the enemies in your own house, you're not gonna make it. You're done.
That's all.
That's all.
Big up to the people. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. This is another Black Ice Tea production.
Yes, appreciate that, bro.
West African Black Power, man. West African Black Power, man. All day.
All day, every day.
That's all.
Black Power.
Voice of Fire is in the piece. Y'all know what it is.
Yep.
Love you lots, family.
Stay locked.
Out.
Peace and love, brother. Appreciate it, man. All right, I'm gonna
Peace,
send